Having doubts about your self improvement process? Same. Let's talk about it. No filter, just thoughts. Of course, if you really think about it, right? And if we reflect upon it, self improvement is supposed to, make your life better, right? Then why does it feel like no matter what we do at times, it's never enough? Well, the thing is, there is a truth that no one talks about. In my honest opinion, these are points essentially that no one talks about in this journey of ours of self-improvement. There is a dark side towards it. Trust me. Because as per with anything else or everything else in this world, there needs to be a polar opposite, like to balance things out, light and dark, left and right, or in this case, right or left, up and down. Like there needs to be a balance towards things. So if there's self improvement, there's also a dark side to it. There cannot just always be light, there cannot just always be radiance. There also needs to be chaos. And the thing is, if you're not careful about this said self improvement trap or the dark side of self improvement, I just, hyperbole, they just an overused expression at this point, like self improvement, but it is what it is, right? This term of dark side in self improvement, if we are not careful about it, and I will be honest here, it can destroy us. Now, I have listed points here through my notes of essentially, there are just four of them, but essentially of what I experienced while I'm in this journey of improving myself, just trying to get myself towards the record of being straight, to the point wherein I will be a better version than my yesterday self or like my past, of course, because that's what we strive upon. But the thing is, sometimes you reflect too much, or sometimes you doubt yourself to the point where you question everything, right? Like, am I even progressing at some point? Like, is this even worth it, right? And essentially, as humans, of course, we have this nature of being perfectionists. And that's the very first point I want to make. It's called the perfection trap. That's how we're gonna call it. So essentially, the perfection trap is somewhere along the lines of the more you improve, the more flaws you see on yourself. And we cannot deny it. All of us have flaws. All of us are imperfect. There's no perfect human being out there. If there is a perfect human being out there, we should cease to exist, if I'm being honest with you. You set higher expectations every single time, right? And that's how we trap upon it. Because, of course, self-improvement requires a lot of reflection. The thing is, though, if you reflect too much, you will see more flaws in yourself than achievements, than accolades, than wins, than victories, than the things that you can do in the future or your potential even. It begins to shatter you bit by bit, right? And the thing is, when we set higher expectations and suddenly you're never good enough, that thing of self-growth becomes self-hate. Because now you see that, or before, you don't pay attention too much upon these things. But of course, in self-improvement, you need to pay attention to them because that's the main reason why you're improving yourself. You're trying to upgrade towards a better version of you than yesterday. So it turns to, if you cannot control this one, your perfectionist side, and just accept your flaws, it will turn to a point where, hey, maybe there is no point to this. Like, maybe I am just this dysfunctional. Maybe I am this distraught, And this trap is very easy to fall upon, which is why we need to always be careful. The next thing that I want to emphasize sounds like it's wrong, but trust me, it is very important, okay? Apologies for the pause there. I needed to cough for a second. Okay, the second one is what we call the productivity obsession. That's how I'm gonna label this one. Because of course with self-improvement you need to work upon it, right? Whether it's physical, like let's say working out, going outside, biking, taking walks, stuff like that. If it's mental health, like of course more, more reflection, discovering hobbies, essentially going back to the things that you've been doing before, the things that you love, the things that you want to explore upon. But the thing is, in productivity obsession, productivity is always good. Okay, don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong on that one. But the thing is, you start to essentially feel guilty for resting, right? And the thing about that point is, we are not robots. We're not androids. And they themselves need rest. They themselves need to shut down for a while after like working so hard or being used, so far. Why do we assume that we don't need rest? And the thing about that in self-improvement is it becomes a feeling of you need to keep grinding. Like how the younger generation, I say the younger generation like I'm not, like I'm too old. But yeah, like the younger generation, right? They call it like, oh, you need to lock in. You need to always be grinding. If you're not grinding, then you're gonna be nothing. You're gonna be nowhere. You're gonna fail in life. And that's not true. Please do not fall for that trap. Okay? Because the thing is, in productivity obsession, we feel guilty for just resting, for doing nothing. And the thing about that is, our body needs it as well, to keep functioning towards our next goal, towards our next objective, right? Our body needs rest at some point. Like, you forget that real success is not about doing more, essentially. It's just doing what matters. And I will always say this, okay, towards anyone who asks me, resting is part of the process. You cannot reach your goal if you do not rest and recuperate at some point. If you do not rest and reset, because your body needs that as well. Unless if you're not gonna do that, your body's gonna get sick, and eventually your body is the first person to tell you that, hey, if you're not gonna rest, I'm gonna make you take a rest, which is it will get sick at some point. And I mean, it's inevitable, but we can lessen that if we just rest. And the thing that we are, of course, are trying to avoid overall, besides sickness, is burnout. Because once we burn out, trust me, it will be very difficult to recover from that. Okay? So please do not be guilty or do not feel guilty for resting. We all need rest. At some point, we all do. And don't let your body himself be the first person to tell you to rest or force you to rest. Because trust me, it's not gonna be as easy as you think it is. So it's great that you're progressing, of course, but resting is also part of the process. So even though it's just a day or two of you just sitting there breathing, just still drinking water, still surviving, still being there, as long as you think about your goals and you're still in that mindset of, okay, I will do it as soon as my body recharges, 100% fine. Okay? And I would argue a rest is not just in a day or two. Like if you need, like, some people need like a week break, that's fine. Of course, for personal reasons, for personal matters, but as long as you get back to it again and you don't feel guilty for resting, please do. Okay? Next, the third point I want to emphasize here is comparing yourself to quote unquote better people. All right? Again, apologies for the sudden pause. I need to cough again. All right. So comparing yourself to better people essentially goes like this. The more you grow, and this is where it gets difficult, the more you grow or the more you feel better about yourself, the more you improve essentially, the more you compare yourself to people that are quote unquote ahead of you, right? Like, instead of progress, you feel like you are suddenly behind of everyone. You feel like you are falling behind. And instead of being inspired by these people or using them as motivation, you feel like a total failure, which is never the case. Okay? Please take note that life, as cliche as this sounds, life is not a race and it will never be. All right? We have our own paths to take. It's not, there is no like linear path towards success. Every single one of us have different paths towards success. Every single one of us have different paths towards self-improvement. You take yours, I'll take mine, they will take theirs. Some people arrive faster, some people arrive later. But you will arrive on time. Me, I will arrive on time. On my time, on your time. Okay? So please do not and never compare yourself to the progress of others because they are not on the same path as you. Okay? Especially when they tell you that, oh, if I were you, okay, if at that point, just don't listen, don't listen after that. Okay? We all have our own paths. Life will never be a race. Okay? Life is not even a marathon. Life is a self-paced journey that only you can find for yourself. So please, take as much time as you need. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. Compare yourself to your past version. Compare yourself towards a yesterday version if you want to. As long as you keep stepping forward, as long as you keep improving, that's the important thing. That's the important key. All right? So, final point that I want to emphasize, speaking of yourself, of comparing you to yourself, losing yourself in the process. Losing yourself in all the progress. Okay? The thing about this that I wanted to reflect upon is you start chasing a better version of yourself. Of course, we all have that, right? We all want that. A better version of ourselves. That you forget to actually live. That you forget all the past versions of yourself. All the previous versions of you, right? The goal of self-improvement, and again, let me remind you on this, the goal of self-improvement is never to be perfect because we can never chase perfection, okay? We will never attain that. The goal of self-improvement is to be happy. If you are being miserable in your own journey, I have to tell you this, you are doing it wrong. Please, okay, enjoy the journey while you're at it, right? Enjoy the little moments. Appreciate the little moments because that's who we are. That's how we're gonna get built, okay? That's how we're gonna get through it. First of all, of course, accepting your flaws, accepting who you are. Second of all, accepting your previous versions, or essentially the people, or sorry, not the people, but the versions of yourself that helped you become this way. The people who stuck by you, which is of course the alternate versions of you. Your past selves should not be taken for granted because they're the reason why you're improving in the first place. They're the reason why you will reach your goal. Do not forget about them. Instead, use them as a springboard towards you being a better or the better version of yourself. And do not forget to live. Do not forget to enjoy this moment. Do not forget to be happy. I mean, of course, like, if you ask me, hey, like, you're not good looking, you're ugly, you're fat, like, you have a lazy eye, like, your eyes don't coordinate well. How are you happy? Simple. Because it's who I am. It's how I am. And of course, I'm still trying to improve upon everything else. I'm rough around the edges, but day by day, okay? Let's take it day by day. And trust me, we will get there. Alright? We will get there eventually, bud. So if this video hits home, again, for those who have watched it, thank you so much that you're still here, that you're still trying to improve yourself. The fact that you click on this video only means that you are with me trying to improve ourselves. Alright? So please take care If you just woke up, let's have a great day ahead. Let's start us off strong. If you're going to sleep, have a great night and take that well earned rest, all right, that you need. That is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.